Hello. Welcome back to this fun little YouTube channel we have going here. It has been a little while since I have done an episode and I sincerely apologize. Our life has been going in every direction possible lately and I've just been doing my best to keep up, and here we are. I wanted to take some time to record this video today, mainly just to share a little bit and catch you up on what we've been doing and the excitement that we've been having around our neck of the woods over here. And you're gonna have to forgive me, but I have a little list to get through the things because I just had so much I've been on my mind bouncing around wanting to share that I just didn't quite know where to start. So I thought I better make myself some notes or I by all means will forget something. I do have some fun finishes I'd like to share with you, but I'm actually going to save those for a different episode. So today's episode, I'm mainly going to be talking about some of the things we've been doing lately around our house and the family and just my own personal things that I do to keep myself busy. But I also have some fun things I want to share with you in today's episode, mainly just some fun finds that I've had and some of the things that I've found along the way with my adventures. So first of all, to start off with, you might notice I sound a little different. I had every intention of recording this episode last week and I came down with the worst cold that I've had in a very long time. So I do apologize. I'm trying to speak loudly, but if I'm clearing my throat, I have a warm drink and a cold drink right next to me here to try to keep me going through this, and a box of tissues over here as well. It took me a few days to power through and decide I was filling up to even recording this in the first place, let alone having my voice strong enough to do so. So if there's some pauses throughout this video, just pardon those interruptions and pauses as I try to be a little more polite with my cold that I have here, starting things off. But for the most part, we're powering through and we're getting there. I think I tried about every remedy and everything they could. Thank heavens Starbucks medicine ball really helped me right off the bat, and I do have a few tried and true go-to things that I use as well that help me get some sleep and really recover through that throughout the days. But it was a good solid 4 or 5 days until I felt like I was coming on top of things. So it's that time of year, and if you start catching that, by all means get on top of it sooner than later, because it was rough for a couple of days. But here I am, and we made it through. So what's been keeping us busy is literally just life. I mean, what other explanation do you have besides that most days, right? But between work and the kids, that's usually my biggest reasons behind everything. Obviously, that's my life and my family are most important for us and for me. But I've just been hopping, doing all the things that we can. So before we dive into a lot of things, I want to start off with sharing my little favorite things. In the last few episodes thought it would be fun to share with you some of my little favorite things that I either have around the house or in my sewing room, whether that be a treat, a goodie, or some kind of fun sewing notion. So today I wanted to share with you a notion, or in this sake, a set of notions. And this is from a local craftsman that we have here in our area. So Westing Scows, if you've heard of that, I'll talk more about it in a moment. But they are a local craftsman that makes some wonderful tools. So pink is my favorite color. I'll try to show those a little bit closer, but I saved up over time and bought a set of these. So this is obviously a little seam roller to help. Very beautiful craftsmanship, but if you don't like colors, they obviously have just solid wood colors as well, but he also makes them in a fun stained colored finish, so pinks, purples, greens, blues, yellows, oranges, whatever your heart desires, they probably have that for you. But I have a set here that's the seam roller. There's a stiletto that comes with a nice little safety guard there. And then a seam ripper as well. And this seam ripper is my go-to. I love having this on hand. They also make it so that if it goes dull, they will replace that for you. So they're able to undo that and put a new piece in there for you so that it can stay nice and sharp for you and your tools. The thing that I like about this, and it's a little bit harder to see on camera, but it does have a flat spot, so that when you're sewing and in your area, if you set it down, it doesn't roll away from you. It literally has a flat spot that they will stay put. and that's really nice. Each of these as well have that little metal piece that you can see around there, and obviously on this. So the nice part about this as well is they have a little stand that can go with it. You can purchase that have little magnets, and so I just keep mine the flat side down, just keeping them all together, and then it can just sit there next to my sewing machine and have it there for me to just grab and go whenever I'm sewing and ready to go. It also has a nice little slit on the top. I usually keep some little snips, some little scissors there next to it that I can have on hand as I'm doing my piecing and my stitching. The stands, they solid wood, really, whoops, beautiful, great finish. And I actually now have 2 sets of these. So funny enough, I love them so much. I purchased one in the beginning. Excuse me. I purchased one quite a few years ago and loved them so much. And somehow, I think it was when we were moving into this home, I don't remember when, they got misplaced. And I searched and searched for months and months and could not find this set of tools I love. And I was so brokenhearted. I thought, I'm just to the point, I'm just going to buy some new ones. And my husband said, you like them that much, just go buy a new set. So I waited until the next quilt festival, because they come as a vendor to our quilt festival, and purchased a new set and a new stand for it. And I was so excited to get home, and I came home and got it all set up, and wouldn't you know, about 2 weeks later, I found my original set. That's usually how it goes, right? The next time you go to purchase something, you're going to find the original, which was fine. So I ended up giving the original set to my daughter. She was so excited because she likes pink as well. And now that sits in her sewing box, and she takes it around when she's ready to do some stitching and sewing. And she'll have it for her collection when she's a little bit older and gets a little more into the stitching as well. So Weston's Gals, they're out of Gunnison, Utah. I don't believe they have an online shop or anything that way, so I will share any information if anyone is interested. You're welcome to reach out directly to me, either through email or through my social media platforms, and I'll share some contact information with you. But they do some beautiful craftsmanship, like I mentioned, and some beautiful work. I'm going to talk about them in a moment as well. But I just wanted to start off with by sharing that little favorite things find with you, because it's a little bit of an investment. I can't remember the exact price point of their tools, but when you buy them as a bundle, you get a little bit of a discount, and it is worth it. I've had this set for probably 3 or 4 years now, and I haven't had to replace the seam ripper yet. And again, I've had the other set for even longer. So very well loved, tried and true. Multiple different colors, finishes. I like the darker woods, but my original set was a lighter wood on the stand. You can't go wrong with that one. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love to share some information with you on that, and you're welcome to contact me there. So outside of that, life is just life. My daughter has been on the volleyball team, and we have been chasing her back and forth between games and everything going on in her life, and it's been so much fun to watch her. She's been a freshman this year, so new to the team. She has played in the past with like the city rec leagues and whatnot, but this is the first time on high school team, and she's loved it. It's challenged her in a lot of ways. There's been some tears along the way and some challenges that way, but she's done an amazing job, and we're just so proud of her and the growth that she's made. We're already kind of talking about next year. So they just had their last game 2 nights ago, and that was an away game. So their last home game was this last week, a few days ago, and they've just done so well and grown together as a team. We'll see how things go. The varsity team still has state and region coming up, so we're excited and ready to cheer them on some more. But she's just so excited to continue to come back next year and keep playing with the team and seeing how she can push them those skills that way. But she's turned into quite the little volleyball player, and we're excited and ready to watch her grow some more at that and see where she wants to go. But my youngest son didn't really have much going on in the fall. He didn't play a sport this fall and choose to do anything that way. So he's been he's in middle school, and he's been in his middle school band and decided to join the jazz band and decided to play that way. He was going back and forth between playing like a bass guitar or something, or his trumpet, and I think he's landed on playing the trumpet. So he's doing band in school as well as after school jazz band, and he's been enjoying that. I think that's going to wrap up soon. Maybe it'll go the rest of the year. I'm not sure what they're doing that way, but that's been keeping him busy, and he's decided to play basketball. So we'll take a break from volleyball. He's going to play basketball now, that'll keep us busy for some weekends. And my daughter's taking a break from sports through the winter, and then they will both participate in track in the spring. They both love to run and do that type of thing. So we'll just keep chasing them around as it is. My oldest is still across the world on a service mission right now, and we are really loving watching him grow and develop into his own little person. It's fun to see your children grow up and get on their own and become adults. It's challenging when they're so far away from you, but it's nice that we can talk to him. We talk to him about once a week, and we're able to keep in touch that way. And even though it's October, I'm currently looking at ways to put together some packages for him for a Christmas gift and get that sent over to him so it actually makes it to him in time. We don't have any troubles with shipping. So that's something that I'm going to be taking care of here in the next few days as well. I've been collecting some things to put together, and I'll be getting that put together. We found a shipping service that's reliable to use that way, and make it to him on time and make sure he gets it in time for Christmas. So that's just been keeping us running and busy. It's been so fun and so crazy. On top of all of that, my husband, I grew up in a family that likes to hunt big game, and my father drew a once-in-a-lifetime tag for elk, and they were so excited for that. My husband also hunts quite the sportsman that way, and they were also excited to get together to go do this big hunt, and it wasn't far from our home, so we got together and decided to go get an Airbnb close to where they were, and us girls went down and spent some time with them over the weekend. While that was going on, and the men would come back to the house, and we would have lunch with them and dinner and whatnot. But one day while they were out, we decided to make a little bit of a journey down the road a little further. We went to a little town here in Utah. It's called Panguitch. Some of you may be familiar with it from the quilting world. It's well known for some history in the quilting world that way. And some of you may not, and that's okay. I'm actually going to save that story for another time. But we had quite a fun time. My mother's mother and her family, they're from that area, from Panguitch itself, and so we spent the day going down and kind of touring my sister-in-law around the small little town itself and showing her where Grandma grew up and the homes that they were in, and some of the old pioneer homes that are still there. They have a memorial for what's attributed to the quilter community down there, and they have a really wonderful quilt shop that we were able to go visit. So that's another thing I wanted to take some time and talk a little bit about today, is the quilt shop stop that we had. So we spent an afternoon gallivanting down to Panguitch from where we were staying, and spent the majority of the time at the quilt shop and then driving around town. We went and got some lunch and whatnot, but we had a fun little shopping spree there at the quilt shop. So if you are familiar with the Panguitch area, wonderful. If you are not, you could look it up. They may or may not have things online, but they do have a Facebook page that you could go and visit. But there's a store called Patches that's there in Panguitch, and this is where we went and did our shopping. So the Panguitch shopping spree was so much fun. We loved Patches. I actually had never been there before. They also come to our quilt festival as a vendor, and I just love their stuff, but I'd never made the journey down to Panguitch, even though it's not that far from us, to go do any shopping. I have been to Panguitch multiple times, but it's usually for volleyball games or something that way, so you don't usually stop. So I just thought it'd be fun to kind of do a little unboxing of my shopping spree that we had there and show you some of the things that we got. My daughter was with me, so it was my daughter, myself, my mom, and my sister-in-law. And we just had a fun time Girls' Day shopping and getting out that way. I'll share some pictures here in just a moment of that as well. But she was helping me pick some things out. So we found this great little mini iron. Those of you that have seen these work great for applique work. A lot of different types of trying to iron down like little tiny seams or anything that way. I've had my eye on something like this for a while, and I thought, why not? So we'll see how much it gets used and what kind of fun projects I find to use that one for. But just one of those nice irons that way. I'm gonna pile here. We might have to do a little bit of juggling. I did get some cards from them. Loved this fun little fat quarter bundle. So it is centered around some fabric themes for the mission service that my son is on, and I thought this fat quarter bundle would be fun to do something for him to send in this Christmas package. I'm not sure quite yet exactly what I'm going to do with it, but maybe I'll save it for a quilt for later on. I don't know, but maybe make something to send him at Christmas time as well. And some little notions I got here. I love zipper pulls for all of my stitching project bags and anything that way. And I found this cute canning jar charm. I love to do canning, especially this time of year. And this one was just so cute. So Lori Holtz, and it says bee on it, not ball like canning jars, but it says bee like Lori Holtz bee stuff. And I thought that one was so much fun to find something to stick it on, and maybe it'll even just go on my keychain, who knows. Got something here, but I'll share that just here a moment. We were walking through the shop and found some cute little samples, and there was a fun little bag sitting there, and kind of like just a little backpack bag. They reminded me of the little bags that you see people wearing around Disneyland. It was about that size. I'm not going to share the brand of that, but they had something like that, obviously not hand stitched, but machine stitched, and it was all in a kit. And so my daughter and I decided we were going to make one. And so this is one from Minky Kim, and this is called the Sunset Ridge by Minky Kim, and it's a panel. This is folded in half, obviously, that has everything you would need for a bag. Open it up that way so you can see all the pieces: front, back, pockets, bindings, straps, everything. It has everything you need except for that probably soft and stable. So I am really excited to do that. We bought 2 kits, one for myself and one for my daughter, and we're gonna play around making that, see what we can switch up a little bit to make it a little more different for hers versus mine. Obviously, there's some of those back panels and stuff you could reverse and make them a little bit different, and see where we want to go with that. So we were both really excited about this one. We thought the bag was so cute, and even if we end up making twinners, you know, maybe we can embroider on it, something to differentiate mine versus hers. But they also had the hardware for it. So there's the zipper and the buckles and the zipper pull and all the D-rings that you need for the straps and all the fun things on that one. Has a little bit of a picture of the bag right there, but that one's through Riley Blake, and again, like I said, it's Minky Kim's, but that hardware bag, the hardware kit, comes with all of that as a set. So we are pretty excited to dive into that one. Not sure when it will happen at this point, but that is a project on our to-do list now. Let's dig in. Sorry, the bag's probably a little loud. Found some more yardage that goes with the fat quarter, so I'm thinking I might make him a pillowcase out of this one for my son and send to him for Christmas. And you know, pillowcases are quite quick and easy to whip up, so that's one that I'll probably do for him that way. And we're getting the time of year I'm kind of really missing him, so when I saw that, I got it and just had to, I'm not sure, like I said, what I'm going to do with it, but it just reminded me of him and kind of have something around to keep him close to us that way. And the rest of this is some yardage that I was so happy to find. So not this last quilt festival that we had last week, but the year before, in 2024, I took a class that was like a mystery class. Didn't know what it was going to look like. We could choose between a table runner or a quilt for the finished, and because I didn't know what it looked like, I thought I'm just going to do the table runner. We'll see if I like it, and if I do, then I can maybe remake it into the quilt. This is the fabric line that I chose for that, thinking I'd make myself a little table runner for fall. And we got into the class, started making the blocks, and we got about to the end and they did the final reveal, and her quilt looked so different than the table runner because of the way that her blocks were laid out, and I just loved the quilt. So I actually did not finish the table runner. I still have the blocks there, but I was determined to buy some more yardage, and where I had originally bought that from, it was already selling out. I was kind of bummed about that, thinking, well, maybe I'll just make some scrappy blocks and to use my originals and find some more to go with that. And so got lucky that at Patches they had some of that. So it was this pretty little kind of turquoisey, it kind of has like a wood grain look to it. And this one is really beautiful as well, some vines and berries. A little bit of navy and orange in it, and then obviously this plaid is so cute, kind of like gingham, I guess. And this one, kind of hard to see, it's a light teal color, and there's some little pumpkins on it. I just love those little adorable pumpkins. They just speak to my heart. They're so cute. And then finally another one here that's kind of that vine and berries, but this one has some orange roses on it. I did get my hands on a little bit more of another part of the line that goes with it quite a while back, but I am hoping now I've gotten enough that I can keep working on that. Even if I'm not able to make a full quilt, I could make a wall hanging or a lap quilt with it or something. So this one is just, it's a beautiful line. Let me look. This is from Moda. It's Deb's Train. And Harvest Wishes is what that line is called if you're interested in looking at it. But as I mentioned, it's a little bit old at this point, so it might be a little harder to find, but it is gorgeous, and especially as it comes together. So if and when I get around to making that one, I'll show a final reveal there and show how that one ended up. But that was my Patches haul from the weekend we spent in Panguitch. It was so much fun, and it was just a great little family weekend. We spent a lot of time just us girls and sitting at the house doing some stitching or crafting or just talking and relaxing and snacking on yummy foods that we made and taken down with us. And it was just a nice little getaway, and still get to see the men at night and just have a family weekend. So we haven't been able to do that for a while. One of my brothers and his wife and children, they weren't able to join us this time, so maybe next time they can. But it was a nice little getaway weekend, and fun to do that way, and fun to be able to go do some shopping. So I'll pause right here and share some photos from that weekend, and you can see those. Okay, so Patches, beautiful little shop there. I fell in love with it. I wish they were a little bit closer, but it's still not too far for me to go down once in a while and visit again. As I mentioned, that's where my grandparents grew up, and on my mom's side, and then we stayed in the little town where my dad grew up when we were there at the Airbnb. So unfortunately, my grandmother passed away a few years ago, so we don't have a house there to stay at anymore. So we just got a little Airbnb to go to. Small town. I think my sister-in-law went into that thinking, oh my goodness, what are we getting ourselves into, going to these little small towns, what are we going to do for a whole weekend? And we had a lot of fun. So once we went to Patches, we got back to the house, and there was a gal down the street. I actually seen this on Facebook. There was a gal down the street that was getting rid of a bunch of, like, just basically doing kind of a, it was like a yard sale type thing, but just really just wiping out all of her fabric and books that she had. And I thought, maybe let's go check it out and see what she has. And she was having some really good deals on things. So my mom was a little worn out and tired by then, so my sister-in-law and my daughter and I decided to just walk down the street. It was literally like 2.5 blocks away from where we were staying. So we walked down the street. The lady met us there, and she just had two big rooms. It was in a business place. Again, this town's really small, but it wasn't in her home. And just wall-to-wall fabric, notions, pattern books. It was a little overwhelming to start with, to be honest, not knowing where to start. So we just started rummaging through, and she said, I'm just gonna do, here's your box, you fill the box with fabric, and it's $30 a box. And we looked at her, really? And she says, yeah, I just need to get rid of it. I haven't been filling well, and I'm not able to sew and stitch anymore, so I'm just selling for $30 a box. And it was a decent sized cardboard box, and So we started rummaging and, getting through things and seeing what we could fit in boxes. And she said, you fold it and fit it, you can take it. And I said, okay, well, what about your pattern books? And she says, well, those fit in the bags. And I think she said, as many, whatever you can fit in the bag, I think it was like $10, 10 or 15. And my sister and I looked at each other and we're like, okay, well, we'll have at it. And we stayed there for probably a good hour, just shuffling through things and seeing what we wanted. And we came out with what we felt was a good haul. Some of our stuff was a little bit older and dated for what our age and what we're looking at doing, but we still liked quite a bit of the stuff. And we thought, even if some of the pattern books, to bring some inspiration for some new ideas or anything that way. We felt really good about our takeaway from that one. It was so much, it's not worth showing one at a time, and I don't know some of the fabric lines, to be honest, to share some details, but I did get my hands on some Kimberbell patterns that I've shared in the past that I really love, some other designer patterns that I had never seen that I really liked, and a bunch of cross-stitch books. Again, they're a little more dated, but I thought, oh, maybe with some newer, brighter thread colors or anything, I could, make them look a little more my style that way, and we'll play around with it and see. So we were happy with that haul. I'm going to pause right here and show a picture that my daughter took as we were walking out of the store there. They were all laughing at me because it was only 2 blocks away, so we just walked, and by the time we got done, I thought, how are we supposed to get all this back to the house? And so we used our muscles, and I carried a couple of my own boxes. My daughter carried a storage container thing that I purchased, and my sister-in-law was able to get all of her stuff. We had to take a couple of stops and rest the boxes on the fence on the side of the road for a minute here and there, but we made it back, and it was worth it. It was a fun little memory to make together, and our husbands and our parents were quite proud of us for thrifting and getting what we did for the prices that we were able to. So that was a fun one to experience together as well. So let's talk for a minute about the Quilt Festival. That's another thing that's been on my to-do list and my calendar lately. I've explained this a little bit in the past, but I have been a committee member of our local Quilters Heritage Festival since day one. They asked me to be on the committee for that one. We got this up and running 10 years ago, and I was so honored to be part of that. There were a couple of years I had to take a break due to family needs and my work schedules, but getting back into that, it's been so much fun. And we just celebrated our 10 years and had a really successful weekend festival. I'm going to invite my sister-in-law onto one of our episodes in the near future, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And she helps with that now, and we've gotten her into the quilting bug a little bit that way. But I'm hoping that she can join us sometime and talk a little bit more. But we had such a wonderful time. It's exhausting, and honestly, I think that's why I came down with my cold a little bit. I think I just ran myself a little bit too much, but we had so many great compliments and some good feedback about things we had tried a little differently this year and things that we want to do differently next year. We already picked out our theme for next year, which we're all really excited about, and it was a really great weekend. So as part of that festival, we have vendors that come to that, and I mentioned a little bit ago, Westing's Gals and Patches come to that. And we also had Rocky Mountain Electric Quilters, and our local, it's Christensen's, a department store that has fabric, and we had a gal, Kathy Bruckman, was there, that she was demonstrating some sewing machine rulers that she has to do quilting on your machine. And we had another local gal that was called Quilting for Love. She's a fabric store out of her home, and she just brought fabric lines and things to share that way. And we had another local gal that sells treats. So of course, as quilters, we like to have goodies as we're stitching. And things are just going really well. We've learned some things over the years and some things that do and don't work. And part of the quilting festivals, we have a big quilt show set up. We call it the Quilt Maze because it's set up in the sense that once you get in, you have to go through a maze of quilts to get out. And it's fun that we can do that each year, but it's always different every year too. It looks different, and we obviously have different quilts contributed to it every year. Quick pause. In the past, we've done what we call our black light room, and we just kind of ran out of time to get that set up this year, which actually works in our benefit. But the black light room, we obviously set up black lights and then some quilts, and so it's fun to be able to show people the difference of how fabrics can contrast with the black light versus how it looks so vastly different in natural light, as well as like your thread choices on machine quilting or anything that way. So that's been a hit. In the past, we did have a few people that were kind of bummed we didn't have it this year, but that's fun to know that they'll like it for next year. But by not having that this year, we were able to set up some open sew space. And we had a lot of amazing feedback that people just loved that. It kept them there at the building. In between their classes, they were able to just go set up their machine and keep stitching and sewing and working on their projects that they were doing during their classes. So we had a really successful setup of classes this year. I was able to teach 2 classes myself. One was my kaleidoscope quilt that I have shown in the past, as well as my quilted jacket pattern that I have. They both went over really well, and I was really quite happy with them. Learned some things as a teacher of things that I can do differently in the future, and what makes things successful and what people kind of resonate with. We had a whole lineup of classes, and we're already looking forward to what we're going to do next year. So it's really, really quite fun to see where things are going and how that's going to line up. But as part of the Quilt Festival, like I mentioned, the vendors, so I did have some takeaways I wanted to share with you from that. We did some t-shirts this year for everybody. This was anyone that attended was able to take home a t-shirt, so kind of might be backwards for you. The Quilters Heritage Festival, so it was so fun to see everybody walking around in their pink shirts as they got registered and decided they wanted to wear those throughout the weekend. Because it was our 10-year, our theme was like a birthday party celebration, and everyone that was registered for a class they got a little ticket where they could go in and then cash it in. It was kind of like a trading post type thing, but it was like a birthday party center and presents. And so you'd give them your ticket, you could pick what present you wanted, and then open that present and see what you got. And I got a bunch of pieces of these cute lines of fabric, so cute. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but it's definitely going in my stash, and we'll find something fun to do with those. So that was a fun surprise to get from that. And I thought I would do a little bit more showing some of my takeaways that I had from the Quilt Festival. So for those that, whether you're a committee member or anything that way, we had a fun little committee putting together our goodies, and they put together these cute little cupcake boxes. It says, "You take the cake, and thanks for all you do. We truly appreciate you. I love the Quilters Heritage Festival." And it has some fun little sewing charms on there. And I actually haven't opened this yet, but we can do a little unboxing together here and show you what's inside. So a fun thing to do, maybe if you're going to a retreat or anything, if you want to gift something to a fellow quilter, what they had done with this is they made some cute little fabric cupcakes. This one is black fabric, so it's a little harder to see. But it's a cute little cupcake liner, and they just took a fat quarter and rolled it up like a little piece of cupcake there, and then it has a fun little pen inside of it that they'd stuck in there as like a little candle. A few little treats in the bottom, because obviously we always need treats and candy and chocolates as we stitch, but that was just the funnest little touch to go with us, to kind of the icing on the cake. No pun intended, right? But that was a fun thing and a fun surprise to get. Our little sponsor committee members, they put that together, and that was fun to see there. I was able to get me some new snips that were just absolutely beautiful. We had somebody there selling those, and they're a little larger than what I usually use for my stitching, but still a nice size. Maybe that'll be where these are housed now moving forward. Didn't think about that at the time. One of our vendors was just selling this bundle, and I just fell in love with those colors. They're whole yard bundles. 6 1-yard cuts is what those are, and it says Granny Chic, so I'm sorry I haven't opened it yet to know exactly who the line is from, but they are so pretty, and I'm definitely putting those on my next lineup of a project to use for something. We're fabric collectors, right? We don't always need a reason. We just buy fabric because it's pretty. So, I was able to get this fun. This is a new one I hadn't seen yet, so I wanted to purchase it. It is called the Easy Press Pen Essentials from Acorn. And they were selling this through Rocky Mountain Electric Quilters. And it's it's not starch, but you just kind of paint it on your fabric where your seams come together and you're ironing that. And it helps to kind of press that a little more firmly. I promise it's not just water, but it acts kind of similar to that, but it's also not starch. So I'm really excited to give that one a try and see if that's something I want to continue to use. The nice thing about it, it doesn't discolor your fabric, and it gives you a nice crisp press, similar to when you use your clappers. It does a lot that way as well. Okay, so this one is something I wanted to share. Weston Scows, I mentioned them before with my tools here, and one thing I have not purchased from them yet is this fun little magnetic grabber. And I'm getting a little bit older, and sometimes when I'm sitting here sewing, it's not so fun to have to stop and lean down and pick things up. So this is like a telescopic magnetic piece. So obviously that's the size of that. See, it matches my other tools. But then it comes out like this. And I can reach down and grab those pins that fell on the floor or off to the side that I can't quite reach or something that way. It is like, you see that magnetic, very strong magnet. And I'm excited to have that one in my stash. May or may not use it as much as I think, but I still wanted to have that on hand just to finish out my collection with them. Oh, look at this. They do have an Etsy shop. Etsy.com/shop/Weston Scows. That's WESTENSKOWS. So Etsy.com/Weston Scows. I'm not sure if that'll work through the video for you, but you're welcome to try the little code. You can shop and see what they have, or you can reach out to them also for some custom orders. I know they're amazing to work with. While we were there, Patches also came from Penguich as one of our vendors, and I was able to do a little bit of shopping with them. My mother-in-law happened to pop in for a day to come see what the quilt show was about. We did a little shopping around together, and I found a few more things. So more charms for my zipper pulls. So I thought that cute little patchy star was cute, as well as this fun little butterfly. So I'll add that to my zipper pull collection. And then I have an upcoming project that I'm working on, and I can't really talk much about what it is. I don't think the person would ever watch this or see this, but my mother-in-law just both of us found this, and we fell in love and decided that we would go into projects for this person. So not sure exactly where it's gonna go. Probably maybe on the back or the front of the quilt somewhere, but we love that smoky bear. And once I get that one finished, we'll share that one as well. We're in the process of working through that one for an upcoming gift, and that will be a fun one to have as a memory for that person. So yeah, that was the Quilt Festival. I'll pause right here and show a few photos of things and how that one went. And if in the future you're ever interested in that, I would love for you to come and join us. We have people come from near and far. I think we've had people that come in from California, I know for sure. I think we had someone from back east somewhere, Florida, I think was one that came in this year. And we've just had a lot of great feedback. We have great hotels nearby and Airbnbs, places to stay. So we have all the accommodations if you're ever interested to stay. We're getting ready to gear up to plan for next year. And I just encourage you to follow that one on Facebook, Quilters Heritage Festival, so that you know when we're releasing registration and getting ready for that. But I would also share it here as well. So here's some photos of that event. There's just been a lot of shopping going around here, I've decided, these last couple of weeks. It really hasn't been a couple weeks. I haven't spent that much in a couple of weeks. It's probably been a month and a half, maybe almost 2 months that some of this has been going on. So I talk all the time in every episode about Primrose, and I obviously can't miss out on one of their sip and stitch boxes. So I did get my hands on their fall sip and stitch box, and I was so happy that I did. So I wanted to share what was in that one. I've needed to wait for a little while because I know they don't like you to share and peek too much there, but I think we're safe now that most people have gotten their boxes and received those and are opening and seeing what's to be shared in that. So I wanted to share today what I received in the sip and stitch box. If you ordered one and haven't seen it yet, pause here, fast forward a little bit, don't look, so it can still be a surprise for you. But I love this box. It's always a surprise. The sip and stitches are just, you don't know what you're getting, you just know the theme of the box. And I've mentioned before, Halloween's not my favorite, but I love fall. So I was really excited to receive this one because that's just what it was. It was super fall themed, and the colors fit right into my decor scheme colors, and it's gonna be perfect once I can get to them. So first thing in here that I wanted to share, I've got a list here. I'll go through that way. So the autumn basket chart. So pretty, so cute. New design by Lindsay. That one's beautiful. I'm excited to get going on that one. There we go, the Happy Harvest chart. Cute little pillow for that one. That one will be fun as well. Goodness. There's another one here I can't share. On the back of the little goodie card, because it's the actual chart, it's called the Autumn Pumpkin Stack. So it's on the back of this card, and once I finish that one, I'll show you what it looks like. That might work. Maybe I can do this. That in the little corner, that's what that one will look like once it's done. So what was that called again? Autumn Pumpkin Stack is what that one was. They're all so cute, and they just go so well together, and they'll match perfectly with all of my stuff. So all the floss needed for those 3 projects is included for that. Finishing kits. So you get your fabrics, any rickraps, any trims, anything that way, as well as some sticky board for this basket. So I actually haven't finished anything in an oval before, so I'm actually really excited to try that one. I have used board before, but I've done my own sticky piece to that, so I'm excited to have this sticky board as a mounting piece and to try that in an oval shape. That will be really fun. So perfectly coordinated everything, of course. That's wouldn't be Primrose without it. So the finishing kit for those 3, there's enough there to finish all 3 charts up with that. There's a fun little needle minder, this autumn gourd, so cute. Some floss drops. They're cute little flowers that match. Sticker sheet. You kind of might have seen that peek when I showed you the chart earlier. So some fun little stickers that are themed perfectly for all of that. There is a chart stand. I haven't opened this quite yet, but it's opened up so it'll hold your chart and put your little needle minders on there and any magnets to hold your charts down. I'm excited for that one. And it's neutral, perfect for me. I love neutrals. And then lastly, the tumbler. I've already been using this one, so beautiful with all the designs that match and go along with her designs that way. So that one is perfect, and I was just so excited to open that goodie. It came on the perfect day. I was having kind of a down day with some things going on, and opened that up and it just brightened my day, and it was perfect. Perfect timing, perfect everything. So let's wrap things up a little bit. To wrap things up, I just wanted to show some of my UFOs. I haven't been doing much stitching. Big surprise. Had a lot of other things going on. I haven't been doing much sewing, honestly. I've got a whole list of some things I'd like to get to. And now I just need to figure out how to prioritize those and where they're going to fall in the schedule of life here. But we will get to them. I'm not sure. I wanted to share my 2 UFOs on my stitching projects I've been working on lately, and I'm not sure if I've had much progress on this one since the last time I showed you, so I apologize if it's a repeat. I haven't had it out as much, but this is the Stitching Rules by Lindsay, Primrose, and let's see if we can fold this so you can see what I've gotten done. that's how far I am on that one. And I'm sorry the lighting in here isn't super lovely today, but that's how far I've got there. There's like 7 different sections in this one, and 1, 2, 3, I'm almost 4. I'm about halfway through at this point. So getting back to that one here shortly. But I like to stitch in the season as well. So I've been doing some autumn stitching, and I've been doing the autumn on the farm. So that's how far I've gotten on that one. A lot of fill-in stitching lately, which was great. I will say I got off on the star, the little barn quilt there. Had to unpick and redo that. I didn't really unpick, I just had to unstitch it a little bit. And then I got off on my roof line a little bit. So that kind of, it didn't frustrate me. I just didn't get to go in the pattern and the groove that I would have liked to do. But I was able to do a little bit there. And I've just been doing a lot of fill-in stitching lately, which is great too. It's nice to just be able to kind of mindlessly stitch once in a while. Had on some movies the last couple of days and just sat down and did some fill-in stitching. But now I'm to the part where there's a little bit more detail and you have to count and pay attention a lot more. So we'll get back into some actual stitching here soon and not just that fill-in stuff. But regardless, it's still turning out really cute, and I don't know quite yet how I'm going to finish this one. We'll find that out when we get there. So those are my 2 UFOs and where I am on them. Not a super huge progress, but as you can tell and have heard, I've had a lot going on otherwise, which has kept me busy, and that's completely, I'm happy with where things are at right now. So I hope the things have been going well for you. Thanks for taking the time to watch this one and catch up with me on life in the videos that way. I would love to hear from you. What are you working on right now? Do you have a sewing project? Are you doing some stitching? Is there, some crafty things you're doing? Or are you just honing in and enjoying the fall season? Regardless, I hope it's what you love doing. So drop a comment. Let me know what have you been focusing on lately, and what are you most looking forward to here in the next couple of weeks? For me, Halloween's not my favorite holiday, so I think I'm most looking forward to catching back up on some things and getting back into some actual projects, but just continuing to enjoy the yummy treats that are out here. My daughter and I have a sweet tooth for sure, and we've definitely been enjoying the goodies that this season brings about, so I'm not ashamed to admit that. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful time and being able to find some time for yourself this season, and we will catch up again soon. Thanks.